Good morning, gladiators. Today is Monday, October 5th. Today we are going to start the class with a grammar mini lesson. And so take some time to listen to this video and work through the slides of the grammar mini lesson. So here's a quote for us to think about. Ignoring the signs is a good way to end up at the wrong destination. What exactly does this mean? What signs do you think that they are referring to? If we ignore signs, we might find ourselves in the wrong place than we intended. So could these signs be traffic signs? There are also signs when we are reading, especially in non-fiction texts that we might find challenging. These are notice and note signposts. When you take a journey through a non-fiction text, don't forget to stop at any notice and note signposts. We'll be learning 5 signposts, so if you can please get your L and B so we can take some notes. These signposts are places you recognize as important. When you come across one of these signposts, you will need to stop, notice it, and ask yourself a question. We'll be using hashtags for each signpost. Our first signpost is contrast contradiction, and we'll be using the hashtag CC. So when you notice a contrast contradiction while you're reading nonfiction text, go ahead and annotate it with the hashtag CC. So a contrast contradiction, when you're reading and the author shows you a difference between what you know and what is happening in the text, or a difference between 2 or more things in the text, you should stop and ask yourself, what is the difference and why does it matter? So let's look at this example. So a contrast contradiction, you were looking for a difference or a shift in the text. It is different from what you would expect to happen, or it's different than what has been consistently happening in the text. Here is the example. Even though the temperature dipped below 32 degrees, the water did not freeze. So we were tipped off by the phrase, even though, that something we would expect to happen isn't going to. Here are some signal words that will help you recognize a contrast or contradiction. However, then again, on the other hand, different from, nonetheless, unlike. Our second signpost is extreme or absolute language. We'll be using hashtag EXL. Remember, you can pause the video if you need to stop and take notes. You should be writing down what extreme language is and the question that you need to ask yourself. So when you're reading and the author uses extreme language, that leaves no doubt that it exaggerates or pushes the limit. You should stop and ask yourself, why did the author say it like that? Many times authors use extreme language to grab your attention, to make a point, to make you aware of an important issue, or want you to take some action. When you see extreme language that is troubling, you have an obligation to think about it, wonder why, and recognize that these are clues towards the author's purpose. Let's look at this example. No one on this planet will be untouched by climate change. The Intergovernmental Panel of Climate Change announced. The report warned that climate impacts are already severe, pervasive, and irreversible. No one is an example of extreme language. How could he know that? Irreversible. If it's already irreversible, we must be doomed. Severe, pervasive, are all examples of extreme language. The signpost number 3 is numbers and stats. We'll be using hashtag number sign, or it looks like hashtag hashtag. When you're reading and you notice specific numbers, number words, or amounts, you should stop and ask yourself, why did the author use those numbers or amounts? In the example, we see that, in fact, nearly half of all bottled water is reprocessed tap water, sold at prices up to 3,000 times higher than consumers pay for tap water. When I ask myself, why did the author include these numbers, I think that the author wants me to realize that it is outrageous, extreme language, that we should spend that much on bottled water. Signpost number 4, quoted words, hashtag Q. When you're reading and you notice the author quoted a voice of authority, a personal perspective, or cited others' words, you should stop and ask yourself, why did the author quote this person? In our example, we see that drought relief did not come this winter. California's wet season, as hoped, though California is the third largest state in the landmass. Nearly all of the state is abnormally dry at best and in exceptional drought at worst. There's been a drought of some extent for multiple years now, and it doesn't look like it's going to be ending anytime soon, Storm Shield meteorologist Jason Myers said. So when we noticed quotation marks and a speaker of the quote, we can stop and ask ourselves, why was that person quoted? Our last signpost is a word gap, hashtag WG. When you're reading and you notice the author uses a word or phrase you don't know or is unfamiliar, here are some questions to help you figure out what the word gap might be. Ask yourself, can I find the clues in the sentence to help me understand the word? Do I know this word from some other place? Does this seem like technical talk for experts? Of course, you always have the option of looking up the word in the dictionary. Now that we are done with our signpost and grammar mini lesson, please go to Schoology and complete the noun exit ticket to check your understanding of the grammar mini lesson. That's all we have for today, gladiators. I hope you have a wonderful day.